Hello, world. This is Reg Hatchet chiming in. This is episode 10 of the Blackprint. I want to thank all of you guys who've been rocking with me from day one. I appreciate you. And as usual, we have a very good lineup for tonight. Two powerful brothers I've known for a long time, since before high school. Grew up competing with these brothers from around the way, and they got a lot to say. So right now we have one of them, but hopefully the other one is ready to chime in a few minutes. So these brothers have their own podcast called the All Shapes and Sizes podcast. Very powerful podcast where they attack every topic from all areas. You know, very similar to what we do here. So that's why this was such a seamless transition for them to come on. We knew we had to get it done. Let me start with my first brother, my man Stephen Wilson. How you doing, Steve?
Good, bro. I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no doubt, man. Thank you for coming on. I've been trying to get you to come on for a while.
You know how schedules go.
So why don't you tell the people a little bit about what All Shapes and Sizes is and who was your target? Oh, hold on. I think Dex is trying to chime in. So you can still answer that question when I bring Dex on the screen.
Yeah, man. All Shapes and Sizes is kind of what the title of it is, right?
Yes,
we talk
sir.
about everything. We discuss everything. Whether it be social issues, sports,
politics,
politics, technology, hobbies,
entertainment,
everything, man, everything, anything you want to talk about, anything you could think of, we try and touch on it, right? So if it's trending, we'll touch on it, and then if we got other things that's more important to us, we also touch on those as well.
Yes.
It sounds like a very powerful platform you guys have. I want to thank Dexter Lawson for joining us really quickly this evening. And Dex, I know you do a number of things within the community, but we could see that you got a lot going on in the background. Why don't you privy to people, let them know what you got going on back there and why you are where you are right now.
Okay. Appreciate that. So besides the All Shapes and Sizes podcast that Steve and myself actually host and kick off, we also I have a real estate company. I'm a real estate broker in Connecticut. The greater Hartford area primary is my focus area, but we do all of Connecticut, Mass, New York, and we're actually branching out into Florida. Right now, we're in a new location, Ocean State Job Lot Plaza. See my guy right there, my guy Sean.
How you doing?
How you doing? So we just finished basically unloading a lot of the furniture from the last office into, we took it out of storage and just brought it into the new location. As you can see, the logo colors are pinstriped around. So, we're in the process of, getting this office up and running by the end of this month. We'll probably do the official grand opening sometime in July, but the office will be up and running. We do real estate, insurance, mortgage services, credit repair. And Reg, to your point there, we're active in the community. There's a couple town councils that I'm actually joining and becoming a member of that, and we're doing some stuff with the high school as well. So getting kids that second opportunity if that college is not a option for them. And Reg, I preached this back in the day when you had me on your Boys Club platform years ago, speaking to the youth in regards to possibly when college is not that outlook for them or that first option. After high school, we're giving them those different options outside of, plumbing, electrician, and those different things that we're also showing that, without having that college prerequisite, you can also do real estate, insurance, and, financial services.
Sounds like a whole lot going on, bro. I think that it's super dope that you guys are from the community and, find ways to enrich your community and help your community out, while still being, the guys that you are. It's important that, young people learn academic and life skills from us, but it's also important that you show them that they can hold on to who they are. You know what I mean? Because no matter what ages you guys are, you guys still know what's you know what's current. You know hip hop. You know pop culture, and I think that that's just as powerful to a young black or brown male or female, knowing that I don't really gotta switch up who I am to become famous or become successful or anything like that. Yo, that was my man Sean back there.
Yeah, that's Sean. Yeah, you know that's Mr. Hills back there.
Yo, let me explain. Sean probably not even gonna remember this. Yeah, I first met Sean Hill. I first met Sean Hill at Mark Twain Rec. All right, my grandmother bought me a new
hat. Take your wig off? He might have was gonna take your wig off.
My grandmother had just bought me a brand new basketball from Caldor. Remember Caldor? Yeah. A brand new basketball from Caldor. It had like the outline of the city on it. It was like, it was fresh. Mm-hmm. Man, I get to the rec, Poopsie takes my basketball, man. And just like it just didn't give it back.
We just left that usual suspect too.
Yo, Poopsie got a lot. He's a dude I look up to, man, with the way that he turned things around in his life. I have a lot of respect for him. That's my guy. But on this day, he took my basketball. He wasn't gonna give it back, and Sean Hills got it back for me, man. Like and I always look real talk. Like he probably don't even know that he did that. I was like 8 or 9 at the time, but he is like, yo, give him his ball back. Takes like he kind of takes me down and got my basketball back, man. I know after we left the rack, Poopsie snatched it back and kicked it on the roof, yo. The story didn't end well. He still got the ball back from me again and kicked it on the roof, man. I had to go home without the basketball.
It's all love, man. It's all love.
Nah, man, you got my ball back. I was like, man, I messed with him, man, for that. You know what I mean? He wasn't on no bully stuff. Yeah, so again, there's a lot that's been going on, so it's real. I'm glad about the timing of having you guys on this week. Most recently, the David Chauvin murder trial. Did you guys know that he was going to be convicted? Were you doubtful? Do you think the right verdict was reached? Like, what is your opinion on it? We can start with you, Steve.
Oh man, yeah, I was on the fence. I felt like, obviously, I think it's cut and dry, right? It's a cut and dry situation. I think he's guilty on all the charges, but whether or not the jury was going to find him guilty, that was still, for me, up in the air, whether or not they were going to have that or not. And so I went through a lot of different motions. My family was in the room watching it as the verdict came through, so we were happy that he was convicted. But I'm still kind of, let me see what the sentencing look like. Let me see where we go from here, because I see a lot of people celebrating and feeling like, this is a great first step. Where I'm kind of in the realm of, you know what, it's one out of 1,000 that should have been handled in the proper way. So I'm not as excited as everybody else, because I want to see what's going to happen. Does the momentum continue? Are we going to continue to fight, or are we going to sit back and just take this win and be happy with it? So, you know what I mean?
All right, brother Dex, you, sir.
I'm gonna keep it 100. I knew it, and this is why I knew it. Listen, hands down. Listen, I'm gonna tell you. I knew it because this is what it is, and I knew it from this standpoint. I knew it from the standpoint of it had to be the outcome, right? So it had to be the outcome. Number one, you got so many I'm gonna say that the main things that kind of, in my opinion, dictated this outcome was this. We didn't just have protests from African Americans. We had an extreme number of white people and other races come out, right? High profile thing, so we know that. Mm-hmm. It's captured on camera, so we know that. But the high profile thing, because a lot of these things are captured on camera, still doesn't mean jack shit. But on top of that, during trial, you had these high-ranking police personnel, sergeants, whoever, speaking out saying, yeah, that's not how we do it, this, that, and third. The combination of those two things right there had to be a guilty verdict. Had to be. I look at it from this standpoint because we know the fucked up stuff we did with that 24/7. So I don't focus too much on the fucked up stuff. I agree with like Steve said, we got to see what happens after that. And to me, this case has now set a precedent, right? So now going forward, people can reference this case going forward in future cases. We need to see how that's actually done. Now we also need to see what takes place with these Team Blue cops that now feel, oh, wait a minute, we could speak out now. Let's see if they really start standing up and speaking out. To Steve's point, let's see what happens next. Not just from a policy standpoint. Let's see what these police officers now, what they feel like they have a ability to use their voice if they're going to start doing it. So I think we are in a different place, but we have to take advantage of it. Those police officers got to take advantage, and they got to do what they can do now while the light is saying you could go. We got to take advantage by making sure that we do what we need to do as people in the community. So we just can't, like Steve said, we can't just let this be a little victory. Yeah. No, man. That was just a kick in the door. We got to really start making sure that door stay open.
Let me tell you how I think about it. And real quickly, my man Kane just posted. I don't know if you can see it on your screen. That's Kane just said, "What's good, fellas? Peace. What's good, fellas?
What up, bro? How you?
And so, you see this in a lot of different gangster movies. Matter of fact, Franklin just did this last week where it's a criminal organization and they still go to one of the dudes like, yo, you got to hold this one, yo. You got to wear this one for the team, yo. I really feel like, they realized a few months ago that there was no way that they could slither out of this one.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like they probably went to home like, yo, listen, tell us what you want us to do. We can set your family up. If you good behavior, we can get the sentence reduced, but you gotta wear this one, yo. You gotta wear it.
He had a choice. He had a choice in whether or not he wanted the jury to determine his sentencing or he wanted the judge before the verdict, and he chose for the judge to decide if in fact he does lose. That's why I said, yo, I want to see what the sentencing gonna look like, because it wouldn't shock me if he gets something like 15 years run concurrently and he's out in 8. You know what I'm saying? Like that wouldn't shock me. That wouldn't shock me.
Protect the custody somewhere.
Because remember, what they say is like, yo, there's some guidelines that go with the sentencing. So, and they take your history into account. Well,
and he had no prior. Yeah.
You're a cop. You know what I'm saying? How long was he a cop for?
I don't know. But I just know that they said he had a squeaky clean record. No, he never even been written up before.
See?
Yeah, see, I hear that. And I thought that was probably initially when it first happened. Okay, this is how you're gonna get off. This is before the processes start going crazy and before the trial. Like, he got a clean record. He's probably gonna get off because this is the normal BS, right?
I don't think he could. I don't think he could have got off. I don't think he could have got off.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I thought initially when it first kicked off. I'm just saying initially I thought this. Now going forward, after even with all that, I see nothing less than he's doing 40. He's doing 40 to 50, nothing less.
I'll tell you straight up. I'll be surprised if that's the case.
Me too.
I'll be surprised.
Me
too.
Too.
Lie to you because I
got
felt
40.
Like there's no way he could have got an impartial jury, right? But I didn't realize the jury was so diverse when they started talking about who was on the jury. So originally
it was more white jurors than black.
Right. So, but I think there was like 4 black and 2 that identified as mixed race or something like that, or whatever it was, right? So I felt like before the jury was even picked, it's hard to come up with an impartial jury, right? So even if you pick the white people, I feel like, yo, they may be scared of what's been going on with all the rioting and X, Y, and Z. And the black people on the panel was like, they're gonna look at it and say, yo, you're convicted. So either way, I gotta wait for the sentencing. And there's no way he's getting 40 years. None. No way. I'll be shocked. Let me not say no way. I'll be shocked. So
let's move to literally minutes or moments after the verdict is read.
Yep.
Young lady
Ohio.
was in Cleveland, Ohio, was shot by a police officer 4 times, center mass. She died on the scene.
Yep.
You know, what are you guys' opinion on the Shakaya Bryant situation? You can start, Dex. What do you think about that situation with the young lady that was killed today?
So I seen two bits of footage. I think the first footage I saw was a bystander videotaping the altercation of what took place. And saying he just shot her. He was saying that she was coming at, I thought she said him with a knife. Then I seen another body cam video, which the girl, she was tussling with one girl, the girl fell, then she ran at another girl, and he just fired off. Now, I seen in the later part of that footage, she was laying on the ground. I think I seen a knife near there. I have to see, I gotta hear more and really see, did she have a knife running and lunging at another person? So, you know what I'm saying?
The answer is yes.
Okay.
I'm about to send it to him, Steve. I'm gonna send it to him.
The answer is yes. So
So
the footage that I saw, they showed the body cam footage of the cop who was doing the shooting, and they showed it in real time, and then they slowed it down, right? In real time, what you see is one of the girls fall down. Dude is over to the right hand side. He done kicked her a couple times. He's telling everybody to chill. One of the girl in pink gets pushed up against the car, and the girl pushing her up against the car has a knife, and she's lunging at her with the knife. You understand what I'm saying? And he lets off at that point.
Okay, now, so
we can debate on whether or not he should have tased her instead of shooting her.
Okay,
we could debate whether or not he should have shot her 4 times. But I think there's no question he had to intervene in some way, shape, or form. He had to.
So that's what I was gonna say based off of that. So I did a post when I seen a glimpse of it. I did a post that said it all depend on was she running at her with a knife, because everybody jumped out the window and said one thing. I said all depend on was she running at her with a knife. So I agree with you, Steve, 100%. To the severe that he went or whatever, that might be a toss up. But if he's there to serve and protect, and he sees some lady run at somebody with a knife, he got to do what he has to do. So I can't. I got a problem sometimes when our people jump out the window and be like, no, come on, man, we gotta be real with it.
You know, I think the timing was terrible because it happened like as the verdict was being read, and there's there's a powder keg going on in the United States right now. But there's a few things. The guy that was on the side that was like saying, how could you do that? Talking to the cop. Yo, he kicked the girl who fell down.
Right.
He was with the girl who got shot.
Right.
I don't know if that was her father, but it was obvious that he was a male figure in her life because he was protecting her. Like, he didn't come out to break it up. Like, when she pushed the girl down.
He came out to get it popping.
Right. He kicked her like twice.
Yeah.
So then that girl was lunging at, and the girl that it's important to point out that the girl who was killed was the one who dialed 911. The girls came to her house to jump her. Yeah, she called from inside the house and told them like people came to my house to jump me. She called the police. So she went out to say, I'm not scared of y'all. She got a house knife with her, and her male figure at her house comes out to be like, yo, ain't nobody touching you. It's gonna be a fair one type of thing. So when she charged the first girl and knocked her down, he kicks her. Then she charged at the second girl, and the cop shot her. Now I spoke to a cop today, or he posted on one of my posts saying that police have what's called like a line of progression, meaning that whatever the assailant does, they have to take the next step higher. So on their scale of possession, a knife supersedes the taser.
Copy.
The knife supersedes the mace. The step up from the knife is actually the gun. Because he said a lot of the Kevlar that they wear, the knife can pierce it easier than a bullet can.
Right.
So like they're trained to like if they have a knife, you got to take them down. But maybe he could have shot her in the hand. Maybe he could have shot her once. You know what I'm saying?
What I'm saying. We can get into this. Unfortunately, that young lady lost her life.
Right.
And that's terrible. But just kind of putting the situation in a box outside of the young lady losing her life, and just for the cop perspective, like to your point, it is bad timing, right? But if you really look at it in that situation, if he did what he was trained to do, and imagine being I think we were talking about it earlier. Imagine being the parents of the girl in pink. Regardless if the girl is the aggressor. Imagine he's sitting down there second guessing what he should be doing because of what's going on. And then now that girl gets stabbed up. Like,
hold on. Then what happens? Then people are blaming the cop, saying he didn't take the right action in that situation. He should have put it down because she had a knife lunging at this other cop. We suing the police department.
So we got to be careful about that. Careful. We got to keep it real.
No, wait. Before we go any further, I want to say this. This is what I also feel in that same scenario. Let's back it up a little bit. I'm always going to go here with it. And y'all know me because of, how we always build and how we always talk. There's some responsibility on behalf of that man that was there with his daughter with that knife in that house when the whole thing went down.
That's a fact.
No, you ain't going nowhere. You staying in here.
She will still be alive if he de-escalated her, yo.
Yep.
If he had de-escalated.
Come on, man. This is what I'm talking about. This is where we have to truthfully do that self-assessment, be responsible, because we know when we got to step up as men, we have to intervene. We have to make sure our people in our community, we got to avoid that next step. If you kept her in there, you talked her down, you made sure, no, the police coming back up, they ain't doing nothing. Bing, 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 bing.
Right.
There's a different outcome. He owns a part of that. To me, he got blood on his hands, and I'm blaming him first and foremost before even the girl with the knife.
So, but my thing is you called 911. Yo, why are you out there with a knife?
Makes no sense.
Why do you need a house?
That kind of boggles me, because I'm like, you could go in the house. If they at your house, why are you outside with the knife? So that means it's just, yo, I'm not no sucker. I'm not no. So that's what you about to die. That's what you die for.
But this is the lesson. This is the lesson. It always comes back to the lesson for the youth and for some of these backwards adults. The lesson is this: the company you keep is extremely important. Steve, we talk about this all the time. The company you keep balances you out. That's why, Reg, when you said whatever, I said I'm still with the usual suspects. I still run with the same people I ran with back in '86, because they balance you out. When I'm going left, they're going, hey, no, they're going to stop me. I don't run with yes men. I run with people that's going to check me, and I'm going to check them. I'm not going to let you harm yourself if you're messing with me. You running with me, you're never going to harm yourself or put yourself in a bad situation. Financially, physically, emotionally, you know what I'm saying? I don't care what it is. I'm going to be there. I expect all my people to be there for me. Don't be on yes man. Don't ride on anything I'm doing. Yeah, whatever. No, man, be like, yo, what you doing? And this is what we need. We need more stand-up people, not just men, women, whoever you are. Stand up. Stop letting your people go off of the cliff. No one ain't going off the cliff, man. No one to back them up. You can save a life.
I heard somebody today say that the blood was on my man's hands. And also, what about those two girls who went to her house to fight? Like, yo, they could have been killed. And now there's a young lady who lost her life. Now, what do y'all think about this cop? Is this cop going to be reprimanded, fired, suspended with pay? Is there anything?
He's on leave with pay right now, right? Based on the standard procedure when a cop lets off his gun or whatever like that, or shoots somebody. I don't know, bro. I don't think he was doing his job. You could make the argument he saved a life.
Yeah, I fully agree.
You can make that argument.
Based off of the information that's currently available.
Yeah.
What the footage I've seen, I didn't see him do anything wrong. And I think no more than just going through the normal motions. To Steve's point, you go home on paid leave, you go through whatever, you speak to you go through all those different counselors. And, you know what I'm saying? I think it was a valid shooting.
And if he's who we think he is, or if he, if he's really valid, then he's hurting already. You just killed a 16-year-old. You know what I'm saying? You just killed a little girl. So, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he probably feel a way about it too. I don't know that, but
he's probably traumatized.
You know what
he's probably traumatized.
So,
yeah, he probably.
What do y'all say about the people? Because I saw a lot of people on social media that's calling. And I know what the answer is going to be, but they're calling, people like you guys that are saying that the cop wasn't in the wrong, saying that y'all are traitors to the race, because of what y'all saying about the police officer and not basically protect. I've seen a lot of people posting protect the black woman. This is what we're talking about. Black men don't support black women because
Same ones putting their hands on him too, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Same, like the father.
The same thing.
The father. Like, all right, yo, we gotta call a spade a spade. That's how I look at it. There's no. We can't stand on one side preaching what is right and what is wrong, and then when we in the wrong, we turn a blind eye to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if that's the road we want to go down, then let's go down that road. But I'm not into turning a blind eye to the bullshit that we be on too. Right. Because how do we get better? How do we elevate if we always blaming somebody else for some bullshit that we done did?
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say what Steve said in short terms.
I don't know if this is.
I'm gonna say the same thing Steve said in short terms. It's the same thing as when you see those people say they sitting there on Tuesday crying about their cousin that got shot, and on Friday they talking about free their boy that just murdered like 5 people. Mm-hmm. They're the same people that say this type of stuff. Free so and so. So and so got 8 bodies. And you crying about somebody getting murdered over here, you should be running with the gangsters. If you talk about free the gangsters, you can't be crying for victims next week.
Right. That's a fact.
Come on, man. We gotta make sure the story be consistent at least.
Yeah, we protect them at all. We do protect. We should be protecting them at all times, right? So that's again why the father holds a lot of blame, because the manner in which you were trying to protect them may be the only way you know. That could be the case, right? You don't know no better, X, Y, and Z. But you deserve a critique too. You deserve whatever critique the world gives you, because in that moment you could have pulled your daughter in the house. If that's not your daughter, but it's you a man and that's somebody you love, your cousin, your friend, your sister, whatever it was, you could have pulled her away. So, but again, they're young, so I don't know. Was that for sure her father?
No, I'm just saying you could tell he was a male figure in her life because he was out there.
So I mean, it could have been another young kid. You know what I'm saying? And he, you know, he just as young as them and ignorant. So
no, he definitely appeared to be older to me.
Yeah.
So let's man, take.
He had on a pair of red sneakers or something like that. I don't know how old he was.
As the last part, Rez, like you said, people that might agree with me and Steve, right, and think this particular way. There's always one thing you always can say to those people. What would you do if that was your family member? How would you be feeling if this person was or that person was? Once you switch up that place, they got one opinion when their person is the person that got shot. A whole different opinion when their person is the person that's still alive.
Right.
Oh, yo, remember, the D.L. Hughley said one time, sometimes it's not racial profiling. Sometimes it's damn good police work.
What? Totally agree. Oh, Steve. Didn't we have in our very first podcast that we ain't put our first podcast out there because we had a hope we was fired up that night, drunk, cursing like crazy. Yeah, but it was on that same thing. It was like, yo, sometimes what it look like, it is.
It is what it is. Right?
Come on, man. We know what they have to have.
We were talking about how, like, if you out here in the
white, black, Chinese, whatever. Sometimes you
out here in the streets don't fit the profile. Yeah. You out here doing the dirt, and police out here racially profiling don't fit the profile. Like,
don't be an easy target.
I'm not gonna be 40. I'm not gonna be 40 with cornrows. Right? My pants sagging.
Don't be that guy.
I'm out here on the block on the street. I can't be doing nothing good.
Back in the day, I should be like this. With a tie on. Dirty as possible.
Nah, we joking, but you know, you get the point, man. If you at a certain age, man, like you gotta know better. I would hope.
Yes.
Yeah, but you see more and more now that
doing it wrong, you got to kind of move differently. So
this younger generation, I think they've missed that jewel. I think they missed that gem. You know, like even again, like back in the days, like I know killers and gangsters that had respect for your grandmother. You know what I mean? I always say that it was different. Like I'm talking about dudes with multiple bodies wouldn't curse in front of my grandmother. You know what I mean?
To your point, I had this conversation on the norm, but what I found out is that it's not that they missed the Jew. We live in a society where the whole opposite is glorified now. Me and Sean was talking about the other day. Sean, he was like, yo, this whole generation, this whole society we're in right now was flipped. Anything that was taboo, or what you wouldn't do, or what you wouldn't think, or what just was wrong, now every bit of that, from men dressing like women to dudes snitching to being popular to flashing what you got and not hiding it, to letting people know everybody you shot or you about to shoot, to whatever. Anything you think is completely something that you shouldn't do because it's idiotic to be even doing it or even speaking it or talking about it, they glorify it now. It's the end thing,
right.
like the Chicago type of scene, like they said back in the day. Man, no, if nobody ain't know you caught that body, you ain't doing the work. They gotta know you caught the body.
Reg, did you see the video of the young man who was, I don't know, he had a 5-star General Blood tattoo right here. He had a bunch of chains on, and he was on a live video, and it looked like he was in some type of gang altercation, right? And somebody rolls up on him, telling them how easy it is to get you whatever it is, and he told him to go around the corner and apologize, right? Told him to go around. You can't, he's on the live, but you can't. When he starts talking to the dude, you can't really see the dude or nothing like that. And he must have smacked him up or something. The phone dropped. He said, "Don't pick it up. Go around the corner and apologize." The next time the dude picks up the phone, he ain't got no chain. His shirt ripped up. And he's screaming for help. He's screaming. He's begging whoever's on the live, somebody he might know. He's begging them, please slide through, please, right? He's begging. Now, here's the part that got me like, what? The police show up. The police show up, and I swear, Dex, correct me if I'm wrong. Yep. He's like, yo, on blood, that's him right there.
Yep. That's him right there.
That's him right there. He's the one that punched me in my face.
He punched me all in my face.
Yo, I'm gonna kill him. Yo.
He took my jewels and punched me all in my face.
And you put that on your set. Like, I don't know where this young generation is going. Like, y'all super backwards.
What is y'all opinion on that? The army general that was trying to punk the young black fella, and then he picked
the right one.
The video went viral, and then the black people surrounded his house, and he ended up having to move.
He picked the right one. He picked the right one.
Right, young fella you talk about, right?
He picked the right one to mess with. Because had it been somebody else, it would have went another way.
Yeah, young fella was trying his best to avoid any type of conflict.
Yeah, I commend him. Because it couldn't have been me.
If I'm correct, they said that young boy lived in the neighborhood on top of that.
Yeah, he lived. And the reason why the dude didn't know him was because the dude had just moved there.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he had been there for like less than a month.
Yeah.
And when they say he was like he was drunk too or something like that?
Yeah,
the young man was like, "You smell like you drunk." Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying he would have did that sober.
I'm proud of our people rolling up on their house like that though.
Yeah,
come outside. I'm proud of that.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm proud of that.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes to. So we got to move in numbers. You know what I'm saying? Everything got to be in numbers. We can't have the people. That's okay. So there's another video out there. I don't know if you guys seen it, where yesterday with George Floyd trial going on, this African lady was protesting and she sat in the middle of the street.
Sat in the street, yeah. And the lady was saying she's having a mental health crisis and all that.
Yeah. So I was two sides on that. Number one, the lady with the camera, I hated half of the stuff she was saying and her protest. She was going at it, but there's one part that she said the only thing that I agree with through all of her nonsense she was doing was when she said, none of y'all else, the lady's protesting in regards to this. None of y'all ain't over there trying to go and talk to the lady, see what's going with her, or even sitting down with her, anything like that. That's what I believe. Don't sit there from the sideline talking, and then whoever yelled from the sideline, oh, she about to get arrested. If she getting arrested for taking a stance and protesting this particular way, you either ride with her or be part of it, but you don't talk around and talk about how she about to get arrested. So I agree when the lady was shouting out that saying, but her approach on doing it, sometimes I think this is where we go wrong at. We take the sting out of our own. We take the sting out of our own. You know what I'm saying? That when we got this, we turn around at times and say, we're going to talk ignorant. We're going to curse. We're going to call people bitches and hoes. We're going to call cops, all the stuff here. We're going to do everything to make people focus on the nonsense instead of the issue. When you do that, now you're making so much a scene. So they're like, oh, they're ignorant. Oh, this person's that. Yo, come on. You got to know when to sit there and be able to conduct yourself in a particular way and get your point across without doing something that's derailing your efforts. because you're gonna have a good portion of people that's not gonna fuck with you no more or not listen to what you're saying because of how you approached it. Because I for a minute tuned off, got the overall thing. I just was like, yo, man, now you sounding like this is how we gotta be stuff.
Right.
Well, you heard Maxine Waters.
Ignorant.
We got to be more confrontational.
That's what Maxine Waters said recently.
Yeah, she said we got to be more confrontational.
Yeah, I know how to be confrontational.
I didn't. I needed her to explain that more because I'm not with the being on the fence of things, right? Either you about that action or you about the non-violence. And when you say we need to be more confrontational, people can take that many different ways. And as a leader, I feel like, you need to expand on that. In the moment, you in the middle of a protest. Don't just say inflammatory words that people might take the wrong way.
Right.
Unless you really mean it. You know?
Right. No, that's 100% correct. So, have you guys watched the series Them yet?
Woo!
No.
What?
Put me
That's
on.
some blood boiling shit right there.
Put me on.
I think it's better than Lovecraft Country. Dex, what do you think? I mean, I had to stop watching Lovecraft Country.
You know what? I agree. Lovecraft Country was my thing, but I think this is why I like this one. I'm glad you brought this one up. The reason why I think this one hit me different than Lovecraft Country is because it actually
y'all talk. I'm about to look this shit up. I'm about to look it up right now.
So I watched the whole thing in 2 days. So this is what it did for me.
Netflix?
Amazon Prime.
This is what it did for me, right? It didn't just go through the racist type of stuff we lived through back in that time. It brought it to a level where I think people do not visualize or really display enough where the psyche of it. It was really about people, what you going through, you living in that times from the daughter, hating her own skin color to the point that she started looking at white girls as her best friend and a made up white girl to some degree, and then painting herself white paint to go to a punk rally. That's a psyche that we live through, hating our own color.
Right.
And not being there, the husband going through stuff in regards to not being able to protect his wife and going through those different things because of. And I thought about it from this standpoint, Reg. I was like, yo, picture being a black male, successful. You move into an area, you got to go to work and leave your wife at home in this white neighborhood, fearful anything can happen to her. Your kids got to go to a school. Anything can happen to them on the way to school, the way home from school. You got to drive home. Anything can happen to you. And you live this every day mentally. And then anybody around you that you meet with, like when the wife went and talked to the other lady that was kind of whatever, they're going through the same bugged out type of treatment with, you know what I mean? It's like, it was crazy how it really made me really look at how the psyche of the African family was really just going through some day-to-day, not the systematic racism part of it, but just the psychological mind fuck, the shit that people can do to you, how they can come at you, what they can do to torture you. You had to endure and live every day regardless.
Mm-hmm. So I told people it's a psychological thriller. It's not necessarily. It's like, they show the effects that racism has on each person. Like, so it was almost disrespectful to call the mother crazy because, like, racism drove her crazy. Like, she started having mental health issues. She having a nervous breakdown. She was literally raped. Her child was killed. Like, so when she started to lose it, how you gonna be even pointing your finger saying, that's the crazy lady? Like, and there's a lot of people that live with so much stress and pressure that the average person don't know how much it takes for them to stay sane.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I remember this instance, man, and it's somebody that we all know, so I'm not going to use his name. But we were standing outside the West Indian. It was like a parade day, and we was always silly. We was ranking, being silly, and he was walking by, and we said whatever, and he stopped and was like, "What?" And we was all like, "Damn, bro, we just being silly, whatever." So I saw him like 2 months after that. He was like, "Reg, I'm not gonna lie. I was going through something that night. I was gonna stab one of y'all. If one of y'all would have said anything, I was going. He was like, "Yo," and I knew all three of y'all. I'm cool with or whatever. He was like, "Yo, I was such in such a dark place that when I said what, if any of y'all would have said, 'Yo, you ugly' or whatever, like I was gonna stab one of y'all." And I just thought to myself, instead of being like, "Yeah, whatever, dude." Yo, you don't never know what somebody is going through at that particular moment where whatever pluck you did was just the straw that broke the camel's back. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just the final thing. And I think that this show shows how literally the pressure and the racism and the environment in which the black people had to live in, caused emotional and mental health issues with everybody.
And I think they did it in a real unique way of bringing it across.
And even like the triggers, like how the husband had a pie was his trigger because it reminded him of something from his childhood. Like, so
all right. I don't want. I ain't seen it yet.
My bad.
Yeah,
so
let me allow me to. I come back.
No doubt.
Discussion on it.
Let's move on. I want to give you guys some rapid fire type of questions because I know it's going to spark some other stuff, some other conversations. Who was the better gangster on The Wire? Was it Avon Barksdale or was it Marlo Stansfield? Who was the better gangster?
Marlo. I don't think that's a question.
Marlo, hands down.
That's Marlo.
Marlo over Avon, no question.
No question.
Yep.
You two, Dex, same thing?
Agreed.
Okay, so who's the more successful gangster? Marlo or Ghost from The Wire?
Ghost.
Waiting on you, Steve.
You talking about financial, right? Financially successful, right?
Whatever you consider successful.
I Ghost. Yeah, I say Ghost. I say Ghost. But my thing is, I think whereas Ghost was in a partnership with Tommy, I think Marlo was more in charge of everything that moved.
You don't think that Marlo was in a partnership with Chris and Snoop?
I think he was, but I don't think he was successful like that.
Nah, I mean, that was his team. But they move how he moved.
I think Marlo had enough bread where he could have probably gotten the real estate game if he wanted to, but I feel like he was just like a hood rat. Like he didn't know anything other than the streets. He didn't want nothing.
Well, that
I
holds
agree,
you back.
and I think that's what
that holds you back. Then,
yeah, that's what I was going to say. I agree, and I think that's why
you got the potential and you got the capability, but you never reached that potential in the way you could have. Maybe simply because you didn't know no better, but
Okay, so what about Brother Muzone or Tommy?
I like Brother Muzone. I like the way he moved. Tommy too much of a live wire.
Yeah. What's your question though?
Tommy too much of a live wire.
Bigger gangster or better gangster?
A better gangster.
I like Brother Muzone. I can't. I like Tommy too much of a live wire. He a liability.
Brother Muzone held the block down for Avon with two people, man. He came with him and just one other dude, and sat on the bench and read the Wall Street Journal. Like
that's what I'm going with.
Brother Muzone was an extremely underrated character.
Anything.
Huh?
I said his name held enough weight for him to be able to do that. Tommy, everybody know, he a live wire X, Y, and Z, but I don't think he pumps fear in people like Brother Muzone was doing. So yeah, I go with him.
So who's the more fit? Like who creates the most fear? Is it Weebay, Chris Partlow, or Tommy from?
I can go back. I'll drop you off and then go back after. What was that last question?
Who created the most fear or generated the most fear? Was it Chris, Weebay, or Tommy from Power?
Chris from where?
Chris from The Wire. Chris and Snoop.
And who was the other person you named?
Chris, Weebay, who was Avon shooter.
Yep.
Or Tommy.
Oh yeah. Avon shooter.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
That created the most fear.
Mm-mm. If we just talking about The Wire, it's Chris. And again, yeah, I'm going with Chris. You ain't messing with Chris.
Chris was,
I like how Chris stood on his. You know what I'm saying?
I would make the argument that a lot of people don't like Ghost, but I feel like Ghost got more bodies than Tommy. Like Ghost, one of them dudes that he don't send people to do it; he do it himself.
Huh? Yeah, but Ghost wasn't part. You didn't give me Ghost as an option.
Right. But,
okay.
But a lot of people feel like Tommy is the muscle.
Nah, I don't think so. I think Tommy is the friend that just stuck around.
See, I think Tommy is the muscle. I think Tommy was the muscle, but Ghost was the sinister one. That you don't want to mess with Ghost. Ghost is the one that people say like the sneak that just will do the most vicious stuff. Remember at the very beginning, he like strangled somebody at the very beginning. What he do?
Yeah, the first episode.
I don't think, but Ghost's name rings. Tommy's name never rang. People know who Tommy was, but people were afraid of Ghost. Whether they knew I
agree.
Yeah, I mean, so it's something about that. Tommy, you can see, how Tommy gonna move. Ghost, you gotta watch your back at all. I mean, you gotta watch your back at all times.
So by that same logic, though, isn't Avon Barksdale more scary than Marlo? Like
Avon, ask me who was more scary.
Yeah, that's what I say. Avon.
You didn't ask me who was more scary.
I just said
who was a better gangster. And I think that's clear that it wasn't Avon.
Yeah, I think so. So where does Stringer Bell fall in all of this? Is Stringer Bell a better gangster than Ghost?
All right. So here's how I always looked at Stringer Bell in Avon. You watch Smack.
Mm-hmm.
You watch URL.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who owns URL?
Smack, right?
Smack. But his business partner
is Beasley. Right? Yeah.
Right? Smack is Avon. Beasley is the brains. One got the hood. One has the brains to make it happen.
Mm.
That's how I look at them. So when you say Avon, I don't always just think Avon. I also think that I don't think you could have done it without the other half. Where I don't look at others like that.
So since you brought up battle rap, who's the GOAT? Is Murder Mook the GOAT of battle rap? Let me just ask specifically about Murder Mook because he's kind of like the de facto battle rap.
You got to define GOAT.
Who would you say is the best battle rapper of all time? Is it Lux? Is it Clips? Is it Mook? Is it? I don't know who else you can even throw in this category right here.
To me, the conversation can only be Lux or Mook. To me, nobody else comes into the that category for me.
Okay, so see, when you say Lux and Mook now, right?
Yeah.
Lux ain't never beat Mook.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't about that.
So
That's all it could be in the conversation.
Huh?
Well,
it ain't about
arguably Mook has never lost.
You gotta define GOAT because if the two people that come to mind is Mook and Lux, and Mook has never lost to Lux.
Mm-hmm.
Has Mook lost to anyone?
But to me that doesn't. But listen, to me that doesn't define the greatest.
Not on camera. Not really. You can't. But again,
me, never losing.
I don't think either one of them are in the conversation.
See, to me, this is what it is. For me, the greatest means
Just for me, when it comes to battle rap, it doesn't mean that you have never not been beaten. It means, are you the best at doing what you do? And have you solidified that and been at the top, running it for whatever period of time at that level? That
Then
people
they
look
don't
at
fall
you
into
like,
that
when he got
category.
something, he's the greatest. Because
They
like
don't
we
fall
said,
into that category then.
Huh?
They don't fall into that category.
Who doesn't?
Lux and Mook, they don't fall into that category.
Why not?
Because they have not put in the same amount of work as battle rap. Oh, hold on. This is what I'm only going by what you said. You said that you've been at the top and you've been holding it down for X amount of whatever. But you weren't when you were at the top, battle rap wasn't where it is right now. You took a 6-year hiatus. You sat back while everybody else, and you lived off what you did in the past. When you came back, you put on a great performance against Calico. We're going to use Lux. Iron Solomon.
Performance.
Hold on. Iron Solomon. Mook battle Iron Solomon for 5 rounds. It was kind of boring, but you killed Iron Solomon. My point being is you come back and then you wait a whole nother year or 2 to come back again. While other dudes are taking top tier competition regularly throughout the year.
Okay.
So how do you weigh that?
Okay, so let me explain to you this way.
Okay.
You got somebody like Young Gun NBA that puts out a song every week. You got Jay-Z that's gonna drop an album every whatever. I don't care what these young dudes doing now. Hove is still that guy, and Hove doesn't have to put out a song every week, every month. I believe the same thing when it comes to battle rap. Those young dudes can do whatever, but when they do, they don't come with the quality of what Mook did against Tay-Rock or what Mook did.
But
against...
you know what you won't say right now, though? You
What's
won't
that?
say that Jay-Z is the best in the game right now.
No, but I'll say he's still the GOAT. I would still say he the GOAT. I won't say he the best in the game. The same way with Lux and him. I might not say, you know me, at times I feel like Shine is the best in the game, but I'm still gonna call Lux the GOAT.
I'm gonna keep it 100.
What Lux has done,
I gotta keep it 100.
Battle,
Yo, lyrically, it's very hard. It's very difficult to beat Mook or Lux, right? What they do on that stage. But I think dudes like Shine should be the ones being seen.
Steve, you went out. Your sound went out.
But Steve, so I agree that Shine to me is one of my top. But when we talking GOAT talk, for me it got to be Lux. And the reason I go to Lux over Mook is because Mook has had certain battles where whatever he was saying lyrically, he just was boring. The Lion Solomon boring. I go down Mook battles that are actually boring to me. Now, when it comes to somebody really entertaining me with some stuff and some deep and some shit I got to think about, oh man, it's Lux all day.
Yo, so
sorry, my apologies.
No problem. Yo, so
can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Steve?
I hear
Steve.
you, Red.
I don't think Steve.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you can't hear me, right? Can you hear me now, Steve? Nah, Steve. We'll try to work through it. I think. About to take them off and put them back on. So it's hard, Dex, for you to say that Mook, Lux is the GOAT when Lux has lost to Mook twice.
But see, no, once. That other one was everybody claimed that the other battle back in the day.
At the Lions Den?
Yeah, there was no winner there. But I do agree that he lost to him. But to me, that's what I'm saying. To me, it's like saying this. It's like saying Jordan lost to so-and-so when he was coming up before he started doing his run. Doesn't take away that guy's still whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Let me. Right? That's my overall opinion. You know? I believe Jordan has his era where he was the GOAT. James has his. Bill Russell, You can go through it. I think there's a few of them out there. That's my opinion. But when it comes to this battle rap stuff, I don't believe they have to be undefeated to be the GOAT. You have to be people look as that marquee, as that top. When people think about battle rap and what they want to do, they want to say, I want to be like this guy. Same with people want to be like Jay-Z lost to most people think Jay-Z lost to Nas. People still want to be like Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Lost to Nas or not. So that's how I look at it. It doesn't matter if you took an L or not. When you get up there 9 times out of 10, are you that level that everybody wants to aspire to be? Do you put on stuff that people be like, yo, he's the, you seen his little diss freestyle against DNA and stuff?
Yeah, I saw it.
Fire. Fire. That's the GOAT. Even Mook say, yo,
yeah, but
you be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but see, that's like watching. That's like watching basketball or something to that effect, and you only watch it when certain people are playing, but you don't know about other players. See, Lux has the name, and Lux has been around, but again, who have you battled? So if I look at it like this, if you've got a top 10 list of battlers all time, right, and your top 2 battlers have only faced 1 or 2 people in that top 10 list, but everybody else in that top 10 list has battled each other, how are you top 2?
My opinion is this.
You battling in the same era. You battling at the same time.
My opinion is this. Prior to Lux beating Calico, did anybody even come close to even doing what he did to Calico? Not. Prior to Lux beating
close to what he did against Calico.
Yep. Prior to what he did to Hollow the Don, did anybody come close to doing what he did to Hollow the Don? Not. We can go through many different people that Lux battled.
I don't know. Wait. Don't do that. Calico is not the same as Hollow.
No, but I'm saying that battle that Lux had against Hollow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Stand-up niggas don't lean. Lux, I don't know nobody else did nothing like that to Hollow, in my opinion.
Nobody did it Hollow like that. You're wrong.
Who did it?
You're wrong. So some people have Hollow winning, right? So that battle
against who? Lux?
It's crazy. People
got Hollow winning. But here's the difference. You're saying what he did to Hollow never been done before. That's not true. No, that's not true. I'm telling you, it's not true.
At that point in Hollow's career?
Yeah, Hollow wasn't.
Charlie beat Hollow.
Yeah, like we're not talking. All right, so here's the thing, right? You had a great battle. You had a classic battle. That's what you did. What you were good at in your first 2 battles was you had quotables, right? What you did to Calico had never been done before. That was great. You choked in the first round. You used your first round to finish off your second round, and then you came with your third round, and you scrapped your second round, and you still got the win. That never been done before. And your third round against Calico was like, damn, you're speaking to a soul, right? But that's what battle rap is kind of about. It's about those moments. So against Hollow, you got stand-up niggas don't lean. You know what I'm saying? Though that line will forever be etched in because it hit hard. It hit Hollow right in the soul.
It's up there.
But where's that against Mook? Because Mook was your very next battle. You ain't have nothing like that against Mook. Mook had that against you. Then you come back around and you battled. Who he battled after that? Charlie?
Yeah.
You battled Charlie after that, right? So you had the whole thing where you exposing him and his pops and all that other kind of stuff, right? That hit hard. But was it grade A Lux? No, it wasn't grade A Lux. That wasn't the best Lux we seen. Then you battled Arsenal. Was that the best Lux we seen? No, that wasn't the best Lux we seen. Then you battled Verb. Was that the best Lux we? No, it's been steadily downhill since Calico.
Lux, he's saying Lux.
It's been steadily downhill since Calico.
Oh my God, man.
Be real. Be real. Be real.
Hey, Steve.
Yo, let's bring this over to, because you mentioned it earlier, Dex. who won the Nas Hove battle? This can go on and on. Who won the Nas Hove battle and why? See,
My opinion is this. My opinion is this.
It doesn't matter what
Nas
your
won.
opinion is.
Yeah. My opinion is this. Hove might overall won the battle, but that particular the main clash. Well, let me word it this way: Nas won that battle when it came to songs. Jay-Z won the overall war because he signed Nas eventually.
But so you saying that Ether was better than Takeover?
Huh?
Ether was better than Takeover?
Yeah, because it was geared towards him. The whole song was geared towards him. That song came left. Hands down, ain't nothing. Ether came out and had to, don't listen. We go back. Don't think about what you think about now. Go back and remember when that song hit. Nothing ever hit like Ether, and it was only geared towards Nas. Takeover wasn't geared towards just
I don't believe that. Nas was the under. All right, so staying right there, it's just like battle rap. If you are overwhelmingly supposed to be the person who wins and the underdog does well, they end up getting more points. That's what happened. Ether was a great song. Ether was a great song. But you can't tell me that a bunch of jokes and ranks outweighs the facts. You can't tell me that.
Yes, you can. I can tell you can. I can tell you can. I'm gonna tell you this why. Let me explain it. I'm gonna prove you wrong. Okay. Because after Ether dropped, Nas went right to the studio and did a whole bunch of facts on Super Ugly. Super Ugly was full of facts. But once again, that shows you that facts, a good song can beat facts. Because though he came up with Super Ugly, which was all factual stuff, it was not a good put together project.
But look at so here's why Nas won the battle. Let's look at it from his factual history, how it went.
So you agree he did?
All right, come on, Dad.
Why people say they won the battle. So let me explain. Nas Hove goes up to Summer Jam, right?
Right?
We already know about.
Hey everyone!
All we know about
podcast. I'm plugging my channel.
And X, Y, and Z. We know the subliminals that get shot back and forth, right
now.
Hove goes to Summer Jam, and he drops half a takeover, right?
Yeah.
He drops half a takeover. When he drops half a takeover, the line that get Nas to respond was, "Ask Nas, he don't want it with Hove." No, boom, that's done. They went on to another song. Nas that same summer drops Stillmatic, the freestyle that disses Beans, Jay, and Bleak, right? Jay comes back later on and comes back on the album and he releases all of Takeover. Ether comes out after that, right? He quickly goes and does Super Ugly. The radio station did put Super Ugly, the freestyle, against Ether, the song. They never put Ether, the song, against Takeover, the song.
Right.
So, of course, a full song made by Nas, who is a great himself, against a freestyle, of course that's going to win. Right. And when they did that on the radio and they voted Nas was better than, Ether was better than Super Ugly, everybody said Nas won the battle.
Right. They were confused because Ether was supposed to be compared to Takeover and not Super Ugly.
Right.
And Jay's best rebuttal was on the Blueprint 2. And nobody likes to include that when they name the songs.
Right.
A lot of people don't even, drop that. But that's not when Hov separated himself. Like, it's not even fair, yo.
That was fire. That the joint off of Blueprint 2, that was different. That was different.
So before we wrap up, let me. I think Dex ready to come back in. Dex, you back?
Y'all can hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. My daughter taking her tattoo, her first tattoo. Taking some
no problem, King. Right. So let me ask you this. Dex. Oh yeah. Okay. Here you go. Let me ask you this. Who is the greatest basketball player of all time? Is it Michael Jordan? Is it Kobe? Is it LeBron? Is it Allen Iverson? A lot of people. There's a lot of Allen Iverson fans. Is it Magic? Is it Kareem? Like, who do you say? If somebody asks you flat out who's the best basketball player of all time, you tell me, and then tell me who your personal favorite is.
let me go fast because I'm about to go in here. I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be Jordan, but I believe they're greats in all different eras. But it's probably gonna be the best. And I think my favorite probably will be. I think I got several favorites. I don't think I got one favorite. I think I can't even do that because I think at the particular time back in the day, for everything Jordan was doing for basketball when it was. LeBron now does a whole different thing on and off the court to me. Now where at my age right now, it resonates better with me. So for right now, it's James.
As your favorite player?
Yeah.
He's saying Jordan is the GOAT, but James is his favorite player.
Now, James is my favorite player now. Only
right.
now. And why you been in the
Because you got cut off, but you always going back and forth on that. 1 minute is James, 1 minute is Jordan.
Okay, so what about you, Steve?
Oh, it's Jordan. I don't think there's a question about that. If we're just strictly talking about on the court basketball for real, I think in my opinion it's Jordan. I know a lot of people feel like it's LeBron, but I think it's Jordan, and I think his level of dominance at the height of his career, I think him retiring, I think him being all of his accolades. I know people like to bring up he's 6 for 6 in the championships, X, Y, and Z. Yeah, I don't bring that up, right? Because people always bring that up. I talk about what you averaged in those playoffs, right? I talk about being clutch in the situations where teams needed you to be clutch. I don't think, because I know you like LeBron. I don't think that LeBron is on that level. Like even when you look at some of the teams, like people will say like Jordan had super teams. Like those teams are all-time great teams because of what they accomplished. But the actual players themselves, you got Scotty. Okay, cool. You got Scotty. Who? Horace Grant.
Tony Kukoc. Dennis Rodman. I mean
what?
Ron Harper.
See, I look at it like this. Well, you take a big three. So they say that Chicago had a big three. When did Chicago have a big three? They had a big three in
twice. The first three, Pete, it was Horace Grant was a part of the big three. He was an all-star.
Did people think that was a big three?
Well, I mean,
not talking about the term. Everybody talking
right.
About the term.
No, I don't think people called it a big.
Like looking at that team,
right. I get what you're saying. I don't think people called it a big three, but Horace Grant was so highly sought after that Orlando stole him. I think Horace might have got like $90 million, and that was unheard of at the time. Like he was the number one power forward on the market. I mean, Shaq was in Orlando saying, "All I need is Horace Grant."
The Knicks gave Howard Isley and what's the name numbers because they was doing work over in Utah because they was a part of those
right.
teams.
I agree.
I don't, you know what I mean? When the lower teams pay big money for team players that have been on championship teams, that shit wouldn't happen today.
Right. Well, so if we're talking about what wouldn't happen today,
yeah,
Scotty wouldn't stay a Bull today. That dynasty would have been broken up after the second championship. Somebody like the Hawks is giving Scotty $200 million. He's leaving.
But I think in today's he's more likely to get paid by Chicago versus back then.
True, but even when on that run, like so again, players are much more empowered today. So you're gonna have an issue like Scotty's not comfortably taking a back seat to Jordan today because you can make the argument. And I know a lot of guys like, us, we have the same similar build. And Scottie Pippen was like what we were shooting for. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the slender, I do it all type of guys. Like we love Scottie was our guy. And you can make the argument that Scottie was the second best player in the NBA for a stretch. You can make that argument. Like maybe Barkley was better than him, but he definitely was top 3 or 4.
I hear people say that a lot, and I honestly, and don't get me wrong, Scottie Pippen was like my favorite player. Like I really like Scottie Pippen. I really like Scottie Pippen because he looked, to your point, he looked like something I could shoot for. Like you a long, lanky dude. I mean, long, lanky. Like I really like Scottie Pippen, and I was a Knicks fan. So, you know, it hurt me when he dunked on you in the way he did. But it was something that I could shoot for. But my point being is I always look at certain players and say, yo, what do you look like when you don't have somebody as great as you got next to you? You know what I mean? So it's like I always wonder. So yeah, okay. Jordan retires and you have a spectacular year. But so did Kukoc. He wasn't having a year like you, but he had a good enough year where it wasn't like you were seeing a boatload of double teams.
Oh, no doubt.
Like
No
yo,
doubt.
they could just key in on you, right?
Yo, the Bulls were arguably the best team in the league, or one of the best teams in the league that year.
But you didn't get it done.
Terrible call for Hubert Davis. You know that's controversial, but that's what kept the Bulls out the chip.
I don't know what you're talking
That's
about.
what kept the Bulls out the chip. Terrible foul call, Hubert Davis. I still don't like Hubert Davis to this day.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm saying.
Nah, but you know, in all fairness, the Bulls were not going to beat the Rockets. You know, like the Rockets was just on something different. Akeem was on something different.
Yeah, and I think that's it too, right? So I look at, and this is not, it's not a shot at LeBron, though it's going to sound like that. I think that you've had, separate from your first stint in Cleveland, you've had better talent around you than Mike has.
No, bro.
I do.
Yo,
I do.
Okay, I'm gonna challenge you tonight. No, so for the people here, me and Steve had this conversation a lot, but he did not know I was gonna ask him this. So if he can answer this, it's true because he's doing it off the top of his head.
Yeah.
Yo, name 3 people.
Yeah.
On Miami Heat besides the big 3 who wasn't 35 when they were playing. Yo, Miami had the oldest team in the league. Juwan Howard, Shane Battier, Mike Miller. These were old guys.
Cole.
Cole was young.
What's the name? Wasn't who played for Miami? Haslam wasn't
Yeah, he was still there, right? But he was a mascot. He's still a mascot. Like he's not even playing.
He put in the dirty work. Yes, but you also got 3 premier players. You literally.
How can you say a team is elite when they start Joel Anthony? Like he was waved out of the league when LeBron literally he wasn't.
That's simply because after they got him, the man Bosh said, "Yo, I don't want to play center."
Yo, his career stats, he averages less than 2 points a game for his career. Joel Anthony, we're talking about here, and then Mario Chalmers is the worst point guard in the NBA.
I understand that, but Jordan didn't play with or Bosh.
Okay, in all fairness, though, and I know you understand this because you're a very smart guy. We can't compare our era to say your kids' era because of the changes in technology, the changes in schooling. So if your son says, "Dad, I need a MacBook," and you say, "Yo, I ain't had no computer coming up," it's not a fair assessment of whether or not he needs a MacBook because like this is a different climate. So back in the day, the NBA was different. Again, Jordan did not have to face a Golden State Warriors. He didn't have to face a New Jersey Nets. He didn't have to face Barkley getting on the phone with Ewan, and then they both of them call Gary Payton and say, "Yo, we tired of Jordan. Let's get this done." Like that just wasn't happening in the NBA back then. So LeBron is facing a whole different set of circumstances.
But you've got Hall of Famers sitting next to you. You've got talent around you.
Who's this?
You can make the argument that, and I'm not even going to say just Wade. I'm going to say, just LeBron. I'm going to say Wade, Bosh, and LeBron. Y'all started the arms race. Y'all did that.
That's not my. So the big 3 in Boston didn't exist before that.
You can say Boston. You can say Boston. But the reason why I don't say Boston is I feel like them dudes was towards the back end of their career. Versus y'all at the beginning. You know
I've been having to remind you guys of how many games Wade missed in LeBron's 4 years. Like Wade was in. Brian didn't have Flash. He had you know what I mean? Like, yo, if I drop 30 today, I'm missing the next 2 games because my knees hurt. Wade, that's what Brian had. Wade, yo, look, go look it up. Against San Antonio, bro. Like Wade averaged like 12 points in the finals.
The finals that they lost.
Right. The finals they won the year before, Wade was averaging like 16. He was on his way down. If you look at every year, he missed more and more games. Yo,
I'm not knocking that. I'm not knocking that. What I'm saying is when you've got the talent around you, you win. That's just a fact.
I mean, that's a formula for basketball. Period.
You bounced. You left Wade. You went over there with Kyrie. You brought Kevin Love over. You won again.
Okay, so how many championships did Kyrie and Love have at that point?
Oh, it don't matter. They ain't have none.
Yo,
you didn't have any when you went to Miami.
They were in the lottery. They were a lottery team. They had the number 1 pick. That's why they had.
But again, my point being is no matter if they were a lottery team or not. Remember, didn't Kyrie get hurt the year before? Kyrie was on his way up. It wasn't like Kyrie was a bum. Because if Kyrie was a bum, you would have probably got rid of him too. It wasn't like he.
No, he was definitely not a bum. And I think LeBron definitely saw the writing on the wall. He knew Kyrie was going to be one of the all-time greats. But you could see it. But Kyrie that LeBron had wasn't the Kyrie that we're watching playing for the Nets. That's not. It's not the same guy.
No, I would.
Kevin Love in Cleveland is not Kevin Love from Minnesota.
No, Kevin Love wasn't. But I also say there's only so many freaking basketballs. So there's only so many shots. There's only so many possessions. Somebody's always gonna suffer, right?
Yeah.
And Bosh and freaking Bosh and Kevin Love, they suffered. But even in them suffering, they still giving you double doubles.
No, bro. Listen. So you can go look this up.
Okay.
The game 7 that when they beat what's the name of the championship? Bosh had 0 points, 3 rebounds. Like Bosh would turn into a shooting guard in Miami, bro. He did himself a terrible disservice. That had nothing to do with LeBron. Like you can't guard the post. You can't rebound anymore.
Also the most consistent in the first championship run, right? When they didn't win it, right? When they lost to the Mavericks, like
he wasn't the most. Wade averaged more than both of them, but
Wade averaged more. Yeah. But you had games. This man, Bosh, 16, 17, 16, 17, 16, 17, all night, depending. No, you're going to get that, right?
That's not great for an all-time great.
No, it's not great, but when you have a big 3 and the other 2-3 are the ones who dominate the ball.
Yo, so what was LeBron doing during those times? What did LeBron do to D Rose's Bulls? What do you like? What? Look, see, everybody likes to act like LeBron was playing terrible. He had a terrible finals. Matter of fact, he had a terrible last 3 games of the finals.
I'm only talking. I didn't even bring up the fact that he had a terrible finals. I'm just saying
that whole playoffs. LeBron was awesome. Like it was so clear that D Rose didn't deserve that MVP. LeBron was embarrassing. The Bulls had won 60 games that year. They were the number 1 team in the world.
You know what? Now I got a question for you because I've been having this debate for like 2 weeks now.
I'm listening, brother.
What is an MVP? Right? So I'm going to define MVP for me, right? You are the most valuable player to your team.
Yes.
Some people look at it as you're the most valuable player to the league, right? Some people view it as you are the best player in the league, right? You're having the best season, so you should be MVP.
Right.
Again,
what I believe the MVP is.
Yep. I'm sorry, go ahead.
In my opinion,
the
MVP, it doesn't have to be from the best team in the league, but it has to be from one of the better teams in the league.
Okay.
Whatever the team is, this particular player, if you remove them from that particular team, they wouldn't even be in the playoffs, or they would be scratching to make the 8 or the 7 seed. So if you're one of the top 5 or 6 teams in the NBA, and you have a player that, if you remove that one player, they go from being, runner-up in the championship to being a lottery pick, then that guy is the MVP. By that definition, LeBron James had 10 MVPs.
We've
seen what happened when LeBron leave a team, bro.
I agree with that. I don't disagree with that. I think the MVP should be somebody who is clearly the most valuable person to their team. There's something to be said, obviously, from a league standpoint. You want the player, your MVP, to be in the playoffs, right? Or else, if it was just who's really most valuable to their team, you could often have players on teams that suck,
right?
But whatever, right?
So I think that team has to perform well. So if I'm thinking about the most important MVP that I can remember, it was Allen Iverson in 01. Like, that team is terrible if you take him off that team.
There's no better case for an MVP than that team right there.
Right, but with him in the lineup, they're in the finals.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? But when you take him out that lineup, they're literally the worst team in the NBA.
So here's how I look at it. I feel like every year the MVP, the definition of an MVP changes based on who's the MVP, right? I'm of the mindset, and this is just strictly anybody. If you're on the team with two other legit all-stars, how can you be an MVP? You're not the reason why they're an all-star, right? You're not the reason, right? It's not like you're creating that all-star. So, for example, people were like, yo, James, as soon as James Harden was 4 games into being a net, and they were talking about like, yo, he should be in the MVP conversation. And I'm saying to myself, well, what about all the time in Houston? And yeah, I'm sure it is easy to play when you got Kyrie and you got Kevin Durant on your other side, or just Kevin Durant or just Kyrie. You have somebody, you are a good enough player where if they single coverage you in any way, you're gonna kill them.
So, but I think that you just like shot yourself in the foot if you're like, for your case, because Harden is the example of why what you're saying can't be true. Because yes, Kevin Durant is probably the greatest scorer to ever live. Kyrie Irving is probably the most skilled player in the NBA and one of the probably the greatest show on earth as far as offense is concerned in the NBA. However, without James Harden, that team is filled with holes, and we all don't believe that they could beat the Sixers or the Bucks if Harden isn't playing. However, if you put Harden in that lineup, it puts everybody in their right position. Okay, the other night when Harden was out and Kevin Durant was running the point, they were terrible. When Kevin Durant had the
point, that you would be terrible.
But this is the greatest offensive player we've ever seen.
But here's how I look at it though. In the beginning of the season, before Harden got there, everybody's predicting the Nets to come out of the East.
Right.
So why?
I think that was premature.
Maybe, but they were still beating everybody who they played. It wasn't as if they didn't have a reason to feel that way.
Just keeping it honest.
I felt like they might have been premature.
But listen, but this is why. Before they got Harden, they had Jared Allen, they had LeVert, they had they had a squad before that. They wanted to, I was using them in 2K. Like, they was the deepest team in the game. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like they bench was crazy. Yep. But when they got Harden, they emptied to get him. So they lost LeVert, they lost Jared Allen. Like, I mean, look, Jared Allen is the reason why Drummond got cut. Like,
yeah, but I don't understand. But how does that? So I guess my question is why I don't think it shoots my shoot. I use him as an example because again, he was only like 4 games in when they were already talking about like, yo, he should be in the conversation. And I'm like, yo, hold on.
So I'm not a big James Harden guy, but I'm going to defend him on this one. And the reason why I feel like everybody was saying that was because we all knew, yo, New Jersey is going to need somebody to sacrifice. Somebody has to take a step back. Harden showed himself to be the leader of that team from day one. Look, Kyrie, you go to the wing, you can shoot as much as you want. And out the gate, if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to exaggerate, but I feel like
Kyrie was the one to say like, yo, you play the point.
Yeah. Right, but that's because the first couple of games, Harden was averaging like 14 assists a game. Like, literally, he was like around 14, 15 assists every game for his first 5 or 6 games with the Nets. And so now it's looking like, yo, this dude is going to take a step back, be the facilitator, but we understand that he's the one that's making them go.
Well, either way, I think I'm still of the mind frame that, yo, it's easy to do what you're doing when you have the talent that you have around you.
Facts.
So I don't So somebody who's putting up similar numbers, right? Whoever that may be. So we're not even talking about nobody specific, but just in general, if you're putting up the type of numbers with type of numbers with talent around you, and somebody else is putting up similar numbers, and they don't have the same level of talent around you, how do you now become the MVP over this person over here? That's how I look at it. So when I look at somebody like Giannis and they say, well, yo, LeBron should have got MVP last year, or LeBron should have got, or somebody else should have got MVP over Giannis another year, or whatever it is, I look at the Bucks and I say, how do you figure? I get that LeBron is deserving of the MVP, but he's also playing alongside somebody else who's top 10 in the league. Show me the top 10 player that Giannis is playing next to. You can't.
So for Michael Jordan's whole career, he had a top 5 player on his team. So by your definition, Michael Jordan didn't deserve MVP like any year, because he had Scottie every year he won MVP. He had Scottie.
Yeah, but I don't think Scottie is who Scottie was, and they had great chemistry. But I never thought that Scottie was even close to I thought Scottie was Scottie because he was sitting next to Michael Jordan. And that's the argument I was making to you earlier about,
there's a lot of people.
Are you the player that makes other players, bring that players to the next level? Now, if you're saying that about LeBron, I ain't got no argument.
So there's a lot of people who try to make that argument. And I think what I have to refer them to all the time is that documentary that they did on the Dream Team. Yo, Scottie Pippen was one of the best players on the Dream Team. That was only after championship 2. That was 92 when that happened. Scottie Pippen was the youngest dude on the Dream Team. And a lot of people felt like, yo, like Scottie probably shouldn't have made it. He was there because of Mike. Yo, Scottie showed his ass in Barcelona. Scottie, as a matter of fact, what people don't understand, there's no disrespect, but Bird was older, Magic was older. Whenever they was trashing everybody, but whenever they had like tough stretches, Scottie was on the court. When they played Kukoc, they started Scottie because they knew Kukoc was going to set fire to Bird if they had started Kukoc.
But again, you're still, to me, I feel like you're still playing next to, you're still in that comfort zone. You're still playing against Mike, playing with Mike.
Yo,
like
Mike up and retired.
They talk about it in The Last Dance, and they talk about Scottie's ascension. They talk about Mike is the one that put you like, yo, let's go.
Mike may have definitely given him the bite to be the dog that he became. But when Mike retired, Scottie Pippen was arguably the best player in the NBA.
He also became sort of, I don't know if he was the best player, but he was balling. There's no question about it.
He's MVP of the All-Star game.
But he's also worried about his contract. Right?
I mean, yeah, but he still played. He still played with that crappy contract for like 3 more years after that.
Paid more than him, right?
Who?
Kukoc was getting paid. Oh yeah,
Kukoc, Ron Harper. Yeah, it was like 6 Bulls. He was like 7th on the Bulls in salary.
No, I honestly, I understand your point. But for me, I never really looked at Pippen like that. And I looked at Jordan as somebody like I look at it like this. When I look at the Bulls, I always said to myself, it's Jordan, it's Scottie, and it could be anybody else.
So you don't like Rodman like that. Rodman's not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Rodman is a first ballot Hall of Famer. But you are a role player who played your role. Like, I didn't expect you to score not one basket. I expect you to play defense and rebound. That's what I expected you to do. So you could interchange Wellington, Luke Longley,
no. From a strategic point of view, from a coaching point of view, the Chicago Bulls, the 96 Bulls, was probably the greatest defensive team I've ever seen. And that's because they could switch 1 through 5. And the reason for that was because Rodman could guard Shaq straight up without a double. And that's not exaggerating. I'm not trying to say he would shut Shaq down, but you don't got to send a double when Shaq get it if Rodman is on him. Rodman's going to draw a charge. Rodman going to force him to be uncomfortable. It might miss, and then Rodman might get dunked on. But still, like Rodman played Karl Malone, who was the MVP of the league that year, straight up without a double for the whole playoff, and frustrated the shit out of him. You know what I mean? So Rodman had defensive versatility where he could guard from 1 to 5. Literally, you could play him on the center.
So let me ask you a question. When you honestly look at those Bulls teams, you think those teams are deeper than Some of the teams that they played against.
Offensively, no. But see, like, so Ron Harper was 6'6", and
No,
special,
I rock with Ron Harper.
special defensively. So
Harper.
Ron Harper's your 1 at 6'6". Jordan's your 2 at 6'6".
Defensively,
Scotty's your
crazy.
3 at 6'7".
Yeah.
And Rodman is the 4. And they would start, I think, like Longley or whatever. But when things got thick, they would take Longley out of the game and play another perimeter player and move Rodman to the 5.
Yeah.
And so again, like this was before. Like nowadays, that's normal. Draymond plays that position, but back then, that's unheard of. But Rodman gave them the defensive versatility where the 2 strongest dudes in the league are Shaq and Karl Malone, and I'm guarding both of those dudes without a double team.
Being a pest. You know
what I'm saying? Like, and I'm again.
It's not a knock to him. I looked at Utah and I felt like, yo, Utah is way deeper.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at Seattle, even though Seattle got.
Yeah.
I looked at Seattle and was like,
they had better team. When you look at that, so I'm not one to say that Jordan had a stacked team because he didn't. Because Jed Bushler and Steve Kerr were getting minutes on the Bulls. You know what I'm saying? Like, so these dudes was playing minutes. Like,
I had to tell little Steven, I'm like, yo, Steve Kerr, like, yo, you know Steve Kerr, but you don't know that, like,
right.
The first time I saw Steve Kerr, like, yo, who is this? Who is this? I don't know who this is. So yeah, I always felt like the team. So when people say, yo, he never had to go, Jordan never had to go up against a team like Golden State. I hear what people were saying, but I still always felt like the teams that they were going against, I felt like, yo, them teams is way deeper. Like, I look at those teams and I'm like, yo. And then I look back and I'm like,
we're talking about some of these all-time great teams like these Nets, like the Spurs, the Duncan Spurs, like Golden State. Like, come on, man. Like, Steph would set fire to Steve Kerr. Set fire. Like Clay, like the game. Come on, man. It's just different.
Yeah, I don't think those Bulls beat any of the teams. I don't. The rules matter. The rules matter. The rules matter. I think they can beat. I think they have a chance against San Antonio. If the rules were different. Golden State, I don't know if the rules matter when you're shooting from that type of range. I'm not even
so Popovich.
I don't know if you could put fair. I don't know. I do believe the rules are set in a certain way where it's created somebody like a Steph, right? Mm-hmm. Where there's nothing in my mind that back in the day, it's like, yo, I'm taking an ill-advised 3-point shot and I've got a defender running out at me. So there's inherently, I'm worried about a couple things in the back of my mind when I'm taking a shot.
Right.
Players nowadays, I don't got to worry about nothing. All I got to do is stare the basket down. Because if I even get touched a little bit, I'm going to the line for 3. You know what I mean? So there's a freedom that has been given to the offenses now in the league that I think.
So what you saying that, and this will be our last topic before we wrap it up. But what you saying that, does that mean that you believe that Steph Curry shouldn't be considered amongst the all-time greats because of the era that he's playing in? Because that's been a hot topic these last couple of days.
No,
he deserved to be placed over Magic and over Isaiah Thomas.
I don't know if we're talking about over Magic. In terms of point guard, I don't necessarily look at him as a point guard per se. You play the point guard position, but if you're strictly going to ask me who's the best point guard to ever play the game, that's not Steph Curry. That's not Steph. That's somebody. There's a host of people in the way I view and I believe you view what a point guard is.
So Steph is the point though.
He is the point, but so was Iverson at one point.
Eric Snow ran the one.
He ran the one, but not when Iverson was a rookie.
Early on, you're right. They had to adjust to Iverson and say, yo, we could put this guy to 2.
We got to put him at the 2. And that's my point. You know, like, yo, yeah, he's short. He's got ball handling skills. And he is a great point, but I don't think he's better than, as a point guard, I don't think he's better than Kidd or Magic.
So
but
is he,
as a
is he a
guard,
top 10 NBA player? Forget the position. Is he a top 10 NBA player of all time?
I'm just putting the 10 in my mind. I think he is. Yes. I think he is.
So he's better than Kobe to you?
No, he's not better than Kobe, but Kobe's top 10 to me. So.
Oh, so is he better than Duncan? Kobe, Duncan, Shaq, Bird. These are the people that he's got to be better than if he's cracking the top 10.
Is he better than Duncan? Yeah, I kind of do think he's better than Duncan. Would I rather him on my squad or Duncan? Yes.
Oh.
I want Steph on my squad.
I want KG on my squad before Duncan. I want Sheed on my squad before
Duncan. Duncan has had the better career, but I don't always put like your total career into play when I say top 10. So yes, he's better than Duncan. Do I would have taken him over Bird? I think I would take him over Bird. I'm gonna just keep it 100 with you. I would. I would. It's kind of the same thing when I hear you sometimes talk about LeBron, it's like, he is that next level. So if he's that next level, there's some people that you might think are great, and in history, they've been great for a long time, but the reality is Bird, your back gonna hurt you a lot quicker, a lot sooner in your NBA career than, you know what I mean?
So it's like this. It's like, you always gotta weigh what you actually did, your statistics versus your impact and hood and all of that. Do the people love you? Like basketball wise, Iverson is not top 20. Impact wise, he might be 5 or 6 of all time. You're not
1, 2, or 3.
Yeah,
he might be 1, 2, or 3.
That's
bro.
a fact. That's I wouldn't.
You could make the argument the top 4 is Jordan, LeBron, Iverson, and Steph. You can make that argument. Not in no order. To be honest with you, no order. So again, Steph has, if you're talking about top 10, Steph has the influence. He's changed the game. He's the greatest. How does the greatest shooter to ever play the game not make your top 10?
Well, the greatest dunker to ever play the game is not going to be in your top 10.
Yeah, but the dunking doesn't affect the game like a 3-point shot.
Well, nowadays nothing does.
Right, but when we say shooter, the greatest in-game dunker that I've ever seen is Dominique Wilkins. For me, that's I've seen him do stuff over people that just I've never seen before, ever, since. But in a real NBA game, not necessarily just dunking, period. But when you talk about shooting, it's not just, I'm spotting up and I'm taking the shot. We talking about off the dribble. We talking about off of screens. We talking about all the different ways and the range. How does somebody like that affects the game and has changed the game like that not be in your top 10? It's sentimental not to have him in there. If somebody in there is in there for sentimental reasons.
Okay. So I'm gonna leave it on this last question because this is also one of those philosophical skill and stats versus impact and feel.
Yeah.
Moss or Rice? Moss or Rice? Who is the greatest wide receiver to ever play the game? I'm a big 49er fan. Jerry holds all the records, but Moss is bigger, stronger, faster, better hands, better deep threat.
Ah, shit. I'm an honest. I'm going to go with Jerry Rice.
Why would you pick him over?
I'm going to go with Jerry Rice because of everything that you just said. Randy Moss is bigger, stronger, faster. He had everything that Jerry Rice necessarily didn't have. What Jerry Rice did with what he did have, because he wasn't the fastest wide receiver. He wasn't the most athletic wide receiver, but he was the most precise. And so, yeah, I'm going with him. I'm going with Jerry Rice because I always look at it like if Jerry Rice is the best wide receiver, then the same would go for Allen Iverson being probably the pound for pound best basketball player to ever play the game, pound for pound at his size, what he did, how he did it. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, you always think, well, shoot, if you were like, I look at KD, yo, look, he's dangerous from outside because he never has a hand in his face. He's 7 foot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm never bothered at all. So, you know, you got to take that into account. So I will go with Jerry Rice.
Well, my brother Steve, I knew that this was going to be one of my funnest shows, and I knew the time was going to fly by because we could talk like this for hours. We have on numerous occasions. Yeah, I definitely want to get you guys back in when Dexter's could sit down and be with us the whole time. But I appreciate you holding me down.
I appreciate you having us, man. Yo, listen, All Shapes and Sizes podcast season 2 is coming soon.
No doubt.
Working on a new set and everything like that. So please look out for that. And as soon as we get back into the swing of things, Reg, you already know you're gonna be on. So
no doubt,
thanks
brother.
for having us, man. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you, King, and thank you to all the Blackprint listeners. Signing out. Peace.